Okay, here we go again. I know it's not my usual day to stream, but the revamp for When the Night Comes has been announced as being released on August 6th. I know the team has been working hard on it and on their other projects, but this has been the big one that they've really been pushing to complete. And they had released a demo version of the first two chapters of the revamp last month when they were originally intended to release the revamp, but they couldn't. And I just kept putting off actually streaming them, partially because I kept forgetting them, partially because I was doing Camp NaNoWriMo last month, but this is now August, so that's no longer a thing. So I thought I would go ahead and do revamp demo. I will try to get through both chapters. It depends on how well my voice holds out. But I will try to get through the first chapter. So as you can see, we have a new title screen already. A new game because I just installed this on this computer. So we're going to go with a different name than with my previous one. Now, it's pronounced Michelle, because it's the French spelling. Oh boy. Alright. Okay, there we go. Now I can hear myself talk. I'll leave this out of actually now. Okay, so as you can see, some of the other slice of life stuff is already different from what we're used to. Aha! I don't think any of these were available before, so this is cool. Alright, so, yeah, first name is Michelle. Surname is Dubois. Yes, I'm said to go French. And now we can choose our pronouns, and we're going with they, them, because Michelle, it can be both feminine and masculine, so I thought go that route. So then, because I want to do they, them, because of who I tend to romance once the revamp itself is out. You have been selected for immediate transfer and are authorized to report to the enforcement headquarters in Lunaris Games. Please find your mission information and all other relevant documents enclosed. Once the information has been digested, we order that the documents are promptly destroyed. This information is highly classified, as are all details of your relocation. Upon arrival, please report to General Augustus Willenheim. Respectfully, Lieutenant General Harold Addington III. So, new background, new font for the writing. You can already see there's definitely lots of additional stuff. Just changes in general. I arrived in Lunaris at dusk. I've been traveling for days. My feet are sore, my eyes tired, and all I can think about is how much I need a damn good sleep. I'm a hunter, and I've been called here by Lieutenant General Espria to lead an investigation. The matter is apparently urgent if the rapid way in which I've been summoned is anything to go by. The things that you hear about in ghost stories and fables are all real, and it's my duty, my purpose, to protect humanity from those creatures that go bump in the night. So already there's a slight change in the writing, explaining a bit more about what hunters do. There have been a series of particularly violent murders here in Lunaris lately, and the local enforcers, the agency that oversees us, can't seem to put their finger on who or what the culprit is. I was the most skilled hunter general in the previous town I was assigned to, but I eagerly welcomed the change of scenery. Dot, dot, dot. Even if it does involve murder and a healthy dose of existential dread. So, as I think further into the town, the feeling that washes over me is making me wonder if I made the right choice. As if I even really had one at all. Our lives are bound, and I live to serve. As hunters, we're the only ones equipped to deal with such monstrosities. Plucked from our families at a young age, we're told we hold an incredibly rare talent, not only in passing the secret of initiation that gives us with keen senses and empathic skills, but also in possessing the mental fortitude, intellect, and obedience necessary to ensure our effectiveness and loyalty. Obedience, that's the key word here. I steel myself and wander aimlessly through the unusually narrow streets, unable to focus on much else other than the thought of a warm meal and a comfy bed. The only thing that distracts me from such thoughts is the way the sky begins to turn an inky, infinite black. Now, I don't know if you saw, but up here there was a flat text that appeared briefly, said Codex Entry Unlocked. So we come down here to Extras, and oh look, Codex, Gallery, Mini Stories. This is for the DLC that they did. So we'll be able to access it from the ReVamp itself. We won't have to open a completely different game. So these are Codex entries. All of these ones that are white, we will be able to unlock over the course of the demo. So the first one we unlocked was Hunters. Now, I love the background. I love how it looks like this really old, worn journal. And then there's an arrow down here, so that means there's more to read. And then we can go back. I'm not going to read it because I was just a quicker way for my voice to give out. So we'll just continue on. Wisps of mist swirl around my ankles, seeping out from every crack and crevice. Flickers of magic are present within the smoky tendrils, and I can't help but wonder if my mind is playing tricks on me. I turn a sharp corner and see people running, scooping up small children scrambling to get inside. There's the sound of doors slamming and locking echoing off of the crooked stonework. Curtains are drawn, windows are closed, and then darkness. The abnormal kind. I love that, how it's timed with that transition. Although the stars are shining brightly at a glance, and the crescent moon hangs low, neither offer much light. It's unsettling, to say the least. A chill rolls down my spine, and I walk faster, my sore feet continuing to protest. Yeah, I've done that. Not fun. The instincts that have been part of me since my initiation kick in, and I have a feeling deep in the pit of my stomach that I need to get inside, and fast. I spot a mage-light lantern as I head further down the street. A dull blue flame flickers invitingly in the darkness, drawing me in. I push the weathered wooden door open, and the light tinkle of the bell that hangs above my head announces my presence. It's empty, only very dimly lit by a few worn-down candles. The shelves are stocked with curious trinkets and jars of strange-looking ingredients and potions, and an apparently endless collection of dusty old books lines the walls. Books. I love books. I love to read, period. It smells faintly of incense and a little of... Is that ozone? Yes, like the way the air smells just before a storm. Like lightning. I hear footsteps and turn to find their owner. I'm taken aback by the figure that appears from behind a pair of well-placed curtains.
I was just closing up, but can I help you?
That voice. Wide eyes burn into me, brighter than the clearest of emeralds. His aura feels distinctly magical. I'm very aware that I'm looking at a witch, a powerful one at that. I'm sorry to intrude, but I appear to be a little lost. I'm looking for the tavern. His gaze falls to my weapons and my sash, his cheeks darkening as realization apparently sets in.
Are you the new hunter?
I offer him a wry smile. Is it that obvious? He returns my smile, and I can't help but feel welcome, at home even.
Oh, just a little. It's lovely to meet you. The town has been alight with gossip about you this week, you know. My name is Ezra, by the way.
I'm Michelle. It's nice to meet you, Ezra. Oh yes, it's very nice to meet you.
Did anyone happen to tell you not to wander the streets when darkness falls? As capable as I'm sure you are, it's not advised, especially these days.
Now, watch his sprite. Yeah, he beats. They're animated. I love it. I shake my head, still a little out of sorts from the long journey. Then, much to my embarrassment, my stomach decides to grumble loudly. How rude of me! You must be starving. Take a seat in the back room and I'll quickly fix you something up. You really don't have to do that. I'd better be on my way.
You'll do no such thing. It's too dangerous out there. Please, I insist. It's no trouble, really.
I can hardly refuse when he's looking at me like that. I nod and follow him as he parts the curtains to reveal a cozy living space. There's a small kitchenette with a crooked dining table, and nestled in the corner is a tattered but comfy-looking sofa. Ezra fills an old steel kettle and pops it on the stove, igniting the stubborn burner with a grunt before he turns and offers me a smile.
I'm just going to pop upstairs and get you some blankets. I really do insist you stay until morning. You must be exhausted, and I'd hate to send you out into the darkness knowing.
He pauses, stopping himself.
Just wait here, and please, make yourself comfortable.
I can think of nothing worse than even walking across the street right now, let alone across town, so I swallow a polite protest. Thank you, Ezra. He disappears up a narrow staircase, and my curiosity instantly gets the better of me. A solitary candle burns upon the countertop, colorful, magical little lights hanging from various picture frames and shelves, as well as an abundance of luscious green plants. It's utterly enchanting, just like its owner, and obviously very well loved. There are generous amounts of personal belongings and keepsakes littering every possible nook, and I eye a tiny dish that's overflowing with brightly colored jewelry. Beside it sits a pile of crumpled parchment. Some of the pages are covered in an elegant-looking script, and others are filled with lovingly rendered portraits. I tentatively reach for one of the sketches at the top of the pile, but a loud creak startles me. I turn, as alert as I've always been taught to be, as my fingers edge towards my weapon. The hairs on the back of my neck stand to attention, and I immediately know that there's a creature nearby. Hang on, I'm going to turn the music back up. Still too quiet. There we go. That's when I see them. Their glowing, fierce golden eyes peeking up at me from a previously hidden hatch in the floorboards before I can even think about defending myself. I'm pinned to the wall by a firm, cold, and inherently not human arm. Yes, the music has changed. And even the CGs have been updated because the artists have gained some skill. I mean, the originals were not bad. Of course, they were still gorgeous. But they were able to add details and other elements. So I greatly appreciate that. So be prepared. Here comes a new voice.
Who the hell are you? Where is Ezra?
Oh, boy. His lips curl into a snarl, affording me what feels like an incredibly pointed view of a set of long, sharp fangs. If I hadn't already clocked his deathly pallor, there'd be no second guessing what kind of creature I'm dealing with here. Vampire. I know I'd already be quite dead if that was what he truly wanted, and I feel nothing from him other than an overwhelming desire to protect something, or someone. I wonder which someone. His aura is tense but distinctly non-threatening, so I decide to relax against his hood. I cautiously raise my hands in surrender in the hopes that he'll stand down. We're not taught to harm creatures who have no intent to harm us. It isn't what we stand for, at least not the honorable hunters. Plus, vampires are the closest things there is to human in the Demonology Handbook. I've met a few reasonable ones in my time. Emphasis on a few. He retreats a little, just as I'd hoped, just enough for me to gather my composure. So this is our first choice. I think people ask who he is because they're not sure about his intentions towards Ezra. But really, I feel like his protectiveness is towards Ezra himself. So I always go with this one. Ezra is fine, I swear it. Those bright, disarming eyes burn into my own, a chill skimming over my skin. He looks like he's searching for something, his dark brows twitching as he studies my face, a thick scar cutting through the one on the right. Something that looks a lot like relief settles upon his face. I can't help but wonder what a vampire is doing sneaking into Ezra's home at this hour.
If you're playing tricks on me, I'll have your head. Understand?
He's one of my favorite voice actors just because he has such a gorgeous voice. And on once, my hand still raised where he can see I mean him no harm. I'm not lying, he's safe. He's upstairs. I tip my chin towards the staircase in the hope that he'll use his head and seek Ezra out with those impressive senses of his. And when I said that, when I actually said the line, saying that he's upstairs, I actually did tilt my head. He takes a step back, but he still doesn't seem to trust me. I don't entirely blame him. I know how he feels. The sound of the kettle whistling as it comes to boil distracts him, and he visibly relaxes. His gaze quickly darts to the staircase, then back to me. He steps back, the candlelight illuminating his angular face, all sharp lines and hair as black as the night. He's otherworldly, obviously attractive in that tall, dark, and dead way. His left arm is missing from the shoulder down. In his place is an advanced-looking prosthetic, glowing with what looks like incredibly advanced magic. He catches me looking at it and quirks that scarred brow.
Like what you see? Sorry, it's not for sale.
That smile. Ezra appears from upstairs, his eyes wide as he surveys the sight before him.
Finn? What are you doing here?
Iron fingers curl around Ezra's forearm, almost as though he's just checking he's real. His prosthetic thrums brightly as if it's responding to the touch. I sense that you felt uneasy. I came immediately. Are you okay? There's no way I'm going to try to imitate his voice. Ezra smiles, covering Finn's hand with his own to gently pat it, a reassuring gesture. The intricate pattern etched into the dark iron pulsed like a heartbeat. I was only very briefly startled by the appearance of our new friend here. Right. Finn turns to me and dips his head in an apology.
I'm sorry about that less-than-savory introduction, Hunter. Things are a little on edge here lately.
I'd have never guessed. Well, I'd never have guessed. Same thing. Ezra shakes his head, clearly amused by my sarcasm.
I'm fine. You really don't need to jump every stranger that passes this way.
Are you sure? I guess I wouldn't mind being jumped by him again. That final reassurance seems to make the tension melt from Finn's broad shoulders. Sorry, Michelle, you don't need to be alarmed. He's an ally, I swear it. Even if he doesn't give the best first impression. Finn offers me a genuine, almost soft smile, but he looks guilty, as he should, I suppose. I catch Ezra eyeing me warily, clearly sensing my apprehension. It isn't like it's every night you find yourself in a magic shop staring at a witch and apparently friendly vampire. Finn's whole demeanor changed the second he laid eyes on Ezra. I feel any final traces of fear melting away as he steps forward and offers me his hand. The smile that crosses his lips is mischievous, and cold fingers grip my own in a firm handshake when I reach for him.
It's truly a pleasure to meet you.
Sorry, I'm going to keep gushing about the voice because I love it so much. His pretty eyes brush over me like a caress, his pupils dilating. I feel myself swaying, leaning towards him almost unconsciously. There's a soft whisper of muffled thoughts echoing in my mind. And I can't quite tell if they belong to me or him. It's soothing, and whatever he's doing grants me the foresight to see that he most certainly is harmless, and that he bears no ill will towards me. Okay, so we're going to go back and do that again. just so you can hear the sound effects without me talking. So yeah, that's supposed to be those whispers in your mind that you're describing. Something tells me he now sees I'm harmless too.
Finnegan, stop that. It's not polite.
Ezra's blushing. Finn closes his eyes briefly, breaking whatever connection he's created with me. He offers me a killer smile. Literally. Shit, those fangs are really no joke. He must be pushing at least 5 centuries. And I wrote a fic where it's each love interest. Their first meeting with my what I consider my canon hunter, Robin, who romance Piper. And the last thing Finn says before he withdraws from Robin's mind is, "Oh no, they're both hot." I've heard of vampires enthralling their victims before a kill, but that felt more like a request to be understood, like he wanted to show me he can be trusted. He exchanges an almost sheepish, knowing glance with Ezra, and I quickly feel my mind clearing itself. It's interesting to see such a powerful creature wither under a witch's gaze. "Sorry, I'm just checking." He looked at me and our eyes lock. I nod once, appreciating that he cared enough to put me at ease. Then he's grinning again, wickedly. I hope he didn't hear anything untoward in there. Such as, "Oh no, they're both hurt," or "Please, pin me to the wall again." Anyway, Ezra fusses with the kettle, pouring me a cup of fragrant tea and offering it to me on a pretty full saucer. "Here, this will help you get a good night's sleep." I take the cup with a nod, both of them staring intently as I take a small sip. It's good, refreshing, and exactly what I need. "So, Michelle, are you looking forward to becoming part of this shit?" Ouch! Ezra elbows him in the ribs, throwing him a stern warning glance, and Finn flinches a little too dramatically for a big, scary creature. Lovely town? You can tell that they've known each other a long time.
Do you have any idea what you've gotten yourself into?
Nope. But if it's a threesome with you two, I certainly wouldn't mind. So our next choice. Sorry, I have an itch. We're gonna go with the bottom one just because. I'm used to a little adventure. I truly hope I can help. Ezra looks defeated, but strangely optimistic. I hope my words sound honest because I really have little choice. I have to help. It's my job. My duty. And it's a big duty. Well, you certainly seem capable enough. Finn grimaces, exchanging a strange look with Ezra, and I feel like they're not telling me something.
My clan and I are at your disposal, should you require any assistance.
Clan? He nods, but I decide not to press him for details yet. I'd definitely like to know how many supposedly good vampires reside here in Lunaris. I offer them both a smile and finish up my tea. Ezra hurries to take the empty cup from me and sets it upon the table. He places his hand upon Finn's arm. "Finn, Michelle needs to rest, and maybe you should head home?" Finn nods, and Ezra follows him as he heads for the hatch. They embrace briefly, and Finn whispers something to Ezra's ear, the witch grinning brightly as he pulls away. Then Finn's warm golden gaze locks with my own, and he smiles.
Be sure to take care. If you ever need anything, just scream, and I'll come running.
Scream, right, okay. He winks, and my traitorous cheeks threaten to warm at the sight of it. He noses and laughs quietly, a deep, comforting rasp that I could most certainly find myself getting used to. Oh, yes. "It was nice to meet you, Finn." Finn gracefully lowers himself into the hatch, and Ezra stares into the darkness until the door slams shut. He turns and retrieves a tin of biscuits from a cupboard, offering them to me, waiting expectantly until I take a handful.
Please don't let our apprehension worry you. I'm sure you're more than capable of getting to the bottom of all this. Some are saying the town has been cursed, but I sense something else. Something bigger.
Well, it's always a terrible night for Curse. Even though we've only just met, I feel like I can trust him. Within moments of my arrival, I could tell that something about this town is off, and I intend to get to the bottom of this mess. I have to live up to my apparently impressive reputation, right?
We've lost people, good people, and the investigation seems to have just halted. We don't know what more we can do.
Oh, Ezra, let me cuddle you.
Ugh. Look at me getting all emotional when you're probably dead on your feet and desperate to get some sleep.
It's funny. I absolutely love Finn's voice, partially because it's Gideon Emery, partially because there's something about those deep, resonant voices like that really gets me. Like, I love Thorin's voice in The Hobbit, because Richard Armitage did a really good job with that. But my sibling actually prefers Ezra's voice, which I can understand. I mean, all the voices are gorgeous. You'll see what I mean for here. But, yeah, I just, there's no missing Gideon's voice, but there's one voice that he did for Dragon Age that I'm like, really? He did that voice? He quickly gathers himself, forcing a laugh to break the somber mood. We get to hear everyone's laugh. Thank you for letting me stay, Ezra. I'll be out of your hair first thing. I stifle a yawn as Ezra turns to fuss with some blankets. I'm thoroughly looking forward to settling upon the sofa, however tiny it may be. For Robin, my other hunter that I romance Piper with, she's 5 foot, so the sofa was probably not that cramped for her. I don't know if I've come up with a height for Michelle. I don't think so. Nope, I didn't come up with a height for them. But yeah, so far my shortest hunter that I've actually got a height for is Robin at 5 foot. Like, everybody, all the love interests in all of Lunaris Games seems to be tall. I think the shortest I've seen is Piper, who is 5'6". But there is, there's another character who is 5 foot, but the love interest, the shortest seems to be 5'6". I was like, can you just create someone a little shorter like me? I never thought about that, but I'm tiny. I'm not even 5 foot.
Really, it's no problem at all. Wouldn't dream of letting you wander the streets at this hour, especially after that journey. I'll see you in the morning. If you need anything, just shout.
He heads upstairs and I eagerly remove my boots. The relief is instant when I settle against the cushions, pulling the soft blankets up to my chin. Despite the abundance of questions that currently flood my mind, I swiftly fall into a blissful, dreamless sleep. I think last night was the first time that last night I didn't sleep well either. I haven't been sleeping well because it's been too damn hot. I live in Southern California, so that doesn't. After I wake and Ezra eagerly makes me more tea, I join him in the shop as I prepare to leave. I wait patiently while I deal with what seems like a particularly difficult customer, doing my best to eavesdrop as I survey the books that line the walls. Most of them are in languages I don't understand. So it just makes me want to learn languages. There's a strange energy in the air, and my sense of some of the Ezra's visitor is also of magical origin.
You really can't just drop by like this and expect me to have what you need right away. These things take time.
I do, Surya.
That's always your excuse, Ezra. Do you not want me to work hard to save this town?
Ezra says, apparently not willing to argue, or maybe he knows he'll lose. The tall figure he's bickering with turns to look at me, and I'm horrified by their piercing eyes. Their stare cutting me to my core. There we go. They scowl, their lips pursed as they turn on a towering heel like I have a target on my forehead. Ezra looks like he's about to try and say something to stop them, but they wave dismissively over their shoulder. The country stopped before me and with their gaze, staring me down, upsetting me from head to toe in a slow, pointed drag. I registered the familiar violet sash that adorns their torso, very same as mine, and I exchanged a quick glance with Ezra, looks apologetic as he hurriedly emerges from behind the counter to join us. And unfortunately then, one who apparently doesn't feel it necessary to wear the standard uniform, or maybe they simply think they're too important. They have a commanding presence about them. Can't help but wonder what rank they hold.
So you're my new subordinate? Interesting.
Well, yes. August? So this is the infamous Major General Willenheim that I've been assigned to? They're a prolific figure countrywide, and they're known for being responsible for one of the best hunters that Estria has to offer. Keep that in mind. I think I missed that my first time through the game. It will be a true honor to serve under them, despite their apparently icy disposition. Historically, enforcers aren't the friendliest bunch. They live to serve just as we do, but they hold a much higher authority and love to remind us about it. Serve under them. That could have a very different connotation if you have a dirty mind, which I do at times. The way Ezra said their name carried a warning, and August scowls at him briefly before turning their attention back to me. I notice how tired they look, their eyes heavy lidded and their skin pale, and they even almost sway where they stand. Apparently, Ezra has this too, a flash of concern crossing his features as he quickly rushes to gather some ingredients from a locked cabinet. It looks like he's done this before, seen them like this before. It's a pleasure to meet you, Enforcer Willenheim. I'm...
Yes, I know exactly who you are. Your arrival has caused quite a stir, and more than a little paperwork.
They would complain about the paperwork, because they're the one who's been doing it. They glance over at Ezra, watching as he breaks off a few sprigs from a neatly wrapped bundle of herbs and pops them into a glass vial. Their foot taps impatiently on the floor, an exasperated scoff falling from their lips as they turn to look at me once again, eyes rolling. So tell me, Hunter Dubois, are you ready to partake in one of the most baffling missions I've come across? So we can be cheeky. I didn't realize that first one was cheeky. Or we can be serious. So I usually I know I went with Yes Gerald when I did the original playthrough. So we're going to go with the cheeky one, just to be a little shit. So I guess we'll have to wait and see, won't we?
I do hope you're joking.
I grin, shrugging playfully, hoping to crack their apparently rock-hard exterior. August cheek darkened, turning a charming shade of dusky rose. I can assure you I'll try my best, Enforcer Willenheim. August makes a dismissive noise, still eyeing me warily. This won't be as effective, but it'll do the job for now. As August eagerly reaches for the vial, clutched in his palm, the witch pulls away and fixes them with a worried gaze.
Please stop doing this to yourself. They're pushing you too far and you know it. You're better than this.
Ezra. He is absolutely the mind crank. You know, the one that touches everyone, makes sure everyone's taken care of, but who's going to take care of too? Now, we both know that's not true. As he surrenders the vial, the viscous violet fluid glowing dully as August takes it with a trembling hand. Ezra squeezes August's fingers before pulling away. He looks impossibly sad. There's history between these two, which we find out later. Which, if you played this before or watched my other playthrough, you know what that history is already. There's always a choice. Remember that. August seems lost for words, but manages to maintain a carefully crafted annoyance. They reach for the door with yet another roll of their eyes, pausing briefly to catch my gaze.
I'll see you tomorrow. Don't be late.
We stand outside the shop, the sky bright, but the town somehow still feeling inherently gloomy.
If you ever need anything, you know where to find me. Please don't hesitate to stop by.
You won't get rid of me if you say that. Oh, I wouldn't mind. His smile softens. I feel incredibly grateful that I stumbled across him. I mean it though, anytime, and be careful. Thank you, Ezra. I bid him farewell, reluctantly leaving the warmth and safety of the shop behind to follow the rickety old street signs that point me towards the tavern, the place I'll be calling home for the foreseeable future. The tavern is bustling and filled to the brim with red-faced patrons, the tables littered with empty tankards. It's only 9:30 in the morning, but clearly this town likes to drown their sorrows, even if the sun has barely risen. I don't get that myself. I am not a drinker. Part of that is because my parents didn't encourage us to drink. They didn't drink when we were little, and so we just never got in the habit. I push my way to the bar, and a scowling barmaid rolls her eyes at me as I politely raise my hand to get her attention. What? I have a room here. Could I check in, please? She promptly rolls her eyes again and ducks beneath the bar, reappearing within a few seconds looking even more pissed off. That seems like it's quite an accomplishment. Room isn't ready until 2. You'll have to get a drink or make yourself scarce. I must her polite, albeit forced smile, trying to find a table, but here we go. I find myself face to face with a striking, scowling woman who appears to be blocking me entirely on purpose. So, are we ready for this?
So this is the famous hunter that's taking my place then? You don't look like anything special to me. Come to gloat, have you? Rub it in my face.
So, are we going to be polite or kind of rude? We're going to be kind of rude. I'm really sorry. Am I supposed to know who you are? The woman looks offended, her jaw clenched, her hands firmly fixed to her hips. I glanced down and noticed a violet sash looped around her waist and her simple full armor. A hunter too, then.
Well, you've come to town to take my bloody job, so yes, I should expect you to know exactly who I am.
Except I don't. Oh, shit.
The name's Piper Merriman, and I'll be keeping a damn good eye on you.
The second you slip up, I'll be there. Got it? So I've really been called here to take Piper Merriman's place? She's a legend, having racked up more kills than some of the most seasoned hunters, and all at the tender age of 24. I feel terrible. I wasn't told I'd be replacing anyone, and her being upset suddenly seems pretty justified. I'd be devastated if I was demoted too. We worked so hard and put our lives on the line, all while the majority of the enforcers sit safely behind their desks. Holding our fate in hands that aren't stained with blood, all fingers drip with it. Piper makes a big gesture at the barmaid, and she swiftly handed a glass of warm amber liquid that she delicately cradles in her palm. She steps closer with narrowed eyes, surveying me in a way that almost reminds me of August. Where do you think she learned it? Pretty sure I won't be getting an Employee of the Month anytime soon. We could always work together. I'm getting the feeling I'll need the help. And I'm sorry, truly, I can't imagine how frustrating this must be for you. She continues to look annoyed, but I can tell a more vulnerable emotion lingers beneath this seemingly rock-hard exterior. She swirls the rim around, watching the gentle flash of it as it coats the sides of the glass.
Yes, well, that's what I get for being utterly shit at my job, isn't it?
She scoffs a laugh, but the smile that curls her ruby lips doesn't reach her eyes. Anyway, I'm sure I'll see you in the field. I'm not totally useless, apparently.
They just have me doing the awful jobs, the stuff that doesn't actually matter. What a waste of a perfectly amazing hunter.
They don't be arrogant, except as a fully justified feeling. Her record speaks for itself. Enforcers, just a bunch of pencil-pushing wankers. I stay silent, sensing that she might need someone to vent to. I've been there. Our job can be hard, and not just on our bodies.
Anyway, I can see I'm boring you. I'll just be over there, continuing to drown my sorrows until Willenheim summons me.
You're such an arsehole. I huff a laugh, covering my mouth with my hand, and a poor attempt to stifle the noise, and she seems briefly amused by my reaction. She offers me a thoughtful glance, then sighs loudly.
Don't take any shit from them, okay? Come and see me if they bother you. I'm not afraid to stick my boot up their backside. Again?
Again? Oh, really? Anyway, I'll see you around. Doesn't wait for me to respond, and with a flick of long chestnut hair, she's gone. I spot her disappearing into the heavy crowd that's mulling about in the center of the tavern. The crowd is apparently pretty pissed off about something. I decide to investigate. Might as well get stuck right in. What could possibly go wrong? Really, what could go wrong? I push my way into the crowd, and what I find both baffles and amuses me. A lichen, a hybrid lichen, sat smack bang in the middle of the tavern, arms folded across his chest. He has a smirk plastered across his scarred lips, his wolf ears twitching dismissively as the townsfolk hoot and holler at him. The lichen doesn't seem to care and grabs his drink, taking a deep swig. My first impression is that he seems perfectly harmless, even if his cockiness is almost a palpable aura. As I take a step closer, however, I can see the scars he bears. A seasoned scrapper then, not shy in the least, and eager to stir up the ire of the authorities or other creatures, apparently. He spots me dead, his scarlet eyes flashing, then he's kicking at the chair in front of him and gesturing for me to sit down. Either he's bold or he's got something to prove, and I find myself being watched by the eyes of every tavern goer. They're all waiting to see if I'm going to oblige the object of their disdain, and their tavern falls deathly silent. As I take a seat, the crowd slowly begins to disperse. So their eyes stay firmly fixed on both myself and the lichen, as I turn to their respective seats.
They're lucky I kept my cool. Wouldn't you say, Hunter?
Now, the biggest difference that I can tell with Alcar is he has a brand on his chest here, but it's not showing in the sprite, so I guess they decided to actually save that as a reveal for later. Okay. I don't remember which option I picked before, and we're gonna let the dice tell me. If I keep this right by my computer, so I'm not surprised. Since, I don't have a. Do I have a D2 on here? No. These aren't D2, are they? Hang on. Man. Oh, okay, that's what those are. That's gonna turn my purpose. I have a D2, just that close at hand. No, that's not a D2. Okay. So, got a D4. Odd number we picked the top option, even number we picked the bottom option. That's the 3. The top one. I wouldn't want to piss you off. They are, incredibly so. They obviously haven't seen a lichen in their true form, have they? But then you look an awful lot like a halfling. Not the usual definition of halfling that I'm just associating with it. I pointedly look at his human ears. His birds apparently highly immune.
Oh, I'm sure they've seen one or two around these parts. They're just stupid.
People individually are not stupid, but people as a group are stupid. I grin, finding myself shamelessly liking him already. Pardon me. I see. How about you tell me your name and why you apparently have a death wish hanging around in a tavern full of humans who quite clearly aren't too fond of non-humans? He bristles his tail wrapped around the leg of his chair as he places his now empty tankard upon the table. The noise draws a gasp from nearly every single patron. I glance over at Piper, who sits in the corner, either oblivious or uncaring.
It's Alcar, and I don't have a death wish. Not today, anyway.
That's it. There we go. Just gotta admire the CG again. Only today? He smiles, folding his arms back across his chest.
You don't need to concern yourself with me, Hunter. I stay far away from your kind. From everyone. Mostly.
Mostly. That's the key word there. He does have friends.
I do enjoy coming here to rile this lot up, though.
Of course he would, because he's out there. He's a little shit like that. And that makes him annoying to some people. It's understandable, but I just like it. It makes me like him even more that he's a little shit like that.
Unless they come looking for me, of course.
Of course. He glances over his shoulder, catching Piper's gaze. He flips him off, and he turns back around to face me, his shoulders shaking with his laughter. Okay, we're gonna go back and do that again so you can actually hear the laugh without me talking.
I'm sure you'll grow to despise me in time, just like every other idiot in this hopeless town.
Are you really that sure? Do you really want me to not like you? He stands and all the patrons stiffen. It's so quiet you could hear a pin drop, but Alcar merely rolls his pretty eyes and flashes me a sharp grin. He looms over me, close enough that I can smell the earthy, distinctly petrichor scent of him. I love that they use that word, petrichor.
If my advice is worth anything to you, then trust me when I say to trust no one.
He stares me down. Even you?
Especially me. Goodbye, Hunter.
I watch him leave, feeling everyone's gaze still fixed upon me. I compose myself and offer them a smile, as genuine as I can muster after such an odd encounter. I glance at the clock, and it's only 10:30. I have some time to kill. We can take a walk. Well, this is different. Okay, wow, that's way back. Alright, okay. No further down. Here we go. Until 2, and it's 10:30. So yeah, definitely time to kill. May as well go wander a bit. That's what I would do, because I would not want to be drinking at 10:30 in the morning. The town is small, very small, and it takes me less than an hour to walk it from end to end. On my travels, I find myself drawn to the cemetery, and the scent of blood is thick here. Even the city I live in is not that small. Like I said, I live in Southern California, where all the cities butt up against each other. There's like no gaps between them. It's made it really fun when I visited Europe as part of a college trip. 15 years ago now? That's a scary thought. And we were driving through Poland, and there were just these huge stretches where we were just driving through countryside. And the last time I'd done that was on a trip back to Nebraska for a family reunion. So that was very odd to not have cities right up against each other. Not bad, just odd. I'm not used to it. That would be because this is the site of the last murder. I came across a patch of scorched grass, the earth around it trampled by brutes of enforcers and hunters alike. Well, that's a contaminated crime scene. Sorry, I've watched too much CSI. The remnants of a crumbled gravestone are littered around the perfect black outline of a body. I take a deep breath, crouching down to skin my fingers along the edges. I close my eyes and try to picture it, what happened to them. But it's hard to truly see knowing how stark the darkness is here. It's a blur, a mere memory, but I feel terror. They were so scared, utterly alone in their final moments. But something sticks out to me over all of that fear. I'm sorry. I love you. The words hit me hard, my chest aching. I feel an intense longing. I feel love, the powerful and unconditional kind that snatches the air from your lungs. Oh, this kind of breaks my heart. I take a deep breath and force myself to stand, trying to shake the feeling. I'll find out who killed you. I'm startled by the sudden sound of heavy footsteps, my hands hovering over my weapon. I look around frantically, on guard and ready, and then a striking figure appears. He's clad in fine clothing, his long hair tied in a neat ponytail. The crown of his head adorned with delicate jewelry. It should be unsettled, the pointed teeth and sharp claws indicating he's definitely not human, but he's smiling? Then the flicker of his fade-tipped tail tells me all I need to know. I'm staring at a glamour demon, though I find it hard to be alarmed by his presence. It seems to be a theme here in Lunaris. His eyes are warm chestnut brown, and they sparkle in the dappled sunlight as he gazes at me in wonder.
Hello, Hunter. I've been looking forward to meeting you.
Okay. Yeah, so there have been other codex centers that have been unlocked. Hunters, enforcers, witches, demons, vampires, one more. That'll be actually the next chapter. So, are we going to be cautious, or are we going to go with the first one? I know you're a demon. I recommend you don't come any closer. His eyes widen, his gaze shyly falling to the floor.
I won't hurt you, I swear it. I truly mean you no harm.
Oh my gosh, he's blushing. How do you be so cute? How do you know who I am? He raises his hands defensively, taking a slow, careful step away from me, and I almost feel bad. Yeah. Almost.
Word spreads fast in a town this size. I haven't been here long myself, but people like to talk.
Yeah, when I was a teenager, we had 2 high schools here in town for all of the students. There's not at least 4. And I don't know if they're going to be building more. There's also a continuation high school. Even to a demon like you?
Mm-hmm.
Offers me a shy smile, his hand resting at his side as he sees me finally relax. Even to a demon like me, nothing stops gossip in Lunaris. I think that's a common thing with any small town, because everybody knows everyone else, so everyone's up in everyone's business. His aura is calm, if not a little skittish, and I decide he's probably more scared of me than I am of him. He's still hard to read, though, and that's frustrating, but not necessarily alarming. What's your name? The demon exhales sharply, apparently relieved that I'm making conversation rather than drawing my weapon.
It's Omen.
You've got to be kidding me. So, are we going to say what kind of Omen, or are we going to introduce ourselves? We're going to be cheeky. I feel a smile crawling at the corners of my lips. Are you a good Omen or a bad Omen? Are you a good witch or a bad witch? His lashes flicker, and I quickly realize that he may not be versed in bad jokes. What? Don't worry. It's nice to meet you, Omen. I'm Michelle. So how had your first day in Lunaris been? I have a quiet laugh, yet again perplexed by the wonderfully weird inhabitants of this town. He's certainly the most polite demon I've ever met. Whereas probably most demons that I've encountered have probably tried to attack me. I guess it's been fine. I'm just a little overwhelmed. It's a strange town, isn't it? This is a sweet laugh. Omen laughs, the sound musical and almost infection, causing my own smile to widen.
You're being polite. It's more than strange. It's a mess I and many others hope you can fix.
I grimaced, my gaze drifting back down to the place where the last murder victim lay. I sigh and muster as much confidence as I possibly can. I can do this. I can solve these murders. So, absolutely no pressure then? Omen shrugs playfully.
No pressure at all. Welcome to Lunaris.
And that's the end of the first chapter. So, most people don't remember that, but I'm good at remembering those kinds of details. So, I'm going to take a quick break. I will be back shortly, and we will try to get through the second chapter, because I really want to at least flirt with everybody at least once, so that you can hear how each character sounds. So I will be back shortly. Okay, I'm back. Here we go. Continuing on with Chapter 2, even though it doesn't say it's Chapter 2, it is Chapter 2. Because I've gone through the game enough times, the original game enough times myself to know. So, here we go. I make it to the enforcement headquarters with time to spare after August's unrevealed threat about tardiness yesterday. I had a terrible night's sleep on scratchy sheets and couldn't possibly feel less ready to face my less than sunny superior. I raise my fist to knock on the door, but the muffled conversation I hear coming from inside has me hesitating. I sound seated, and I glance at the clock on the wall behind me to check the time. I have 1 minute before I'm sure General Willenheim will admonish me for being late. So, I take a deep breath and I knock. The voices stop suddenly. I hear a clack of heels and then, yes? Oh, it's you. I quickly glance at the clock.
Well, you're on time at least. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I know it's terribly cozy out there, but please come in.
I nod politely and quickly step into the enforcer's office. It's beautifully decorated with neatly arranged bookcases lining the walls that are laden with a collection of trinkets and tomes that possibly rivals Ezra's. They're both witches, so that makes sense. There's a huge desk in the middle that overflows with reports and letters, and a half-empty inkpot and elegant sapphire quill poised and ready. Then, as if I'm experiencing a rather vivid case of deja vu, Piper appears before me, looking decidedly less impressed than she did in the tavern yesterday.
Hunter.
So do we look at August or do we say hi? Let's say hi. Hello, Piper. It's nice to see you. She stares at me, her eyes narrowed as her gaze flickers to August, who stands quietly just behind me. Her hands are clasped behind her back, a dark eyebrow quirked almost expectantly. Piper frowns at them, her nose crinkling, before she swiftly turns her attention back to me. Yes, you too. I offer her a smile, but the one she offers in return doesn't quite meet her eyes. I appreciate the effort nonetheless. So you two have met already, In the tavern again, were you, Piper? August sighs heavily when we both fail to respond, and Piper manages to look anywhere but her superior. Anyway, they run their hand along the edge of the desk, inspecting their perfectly desk-free fingertip as Piper huffs in their general direction.
I know you have very important business to attend to, but I'm not finished with you yet, Willenheim.
Yeah, I've been saying Willenheim, but apparently it is Willenheim. Is that so?
I've given you your mission. You've complained about it loudly. So, pray tell, Major, what else could there possibly be?
Piper flinches, and I see her demeanor shift, her admirable determination withering and dying as that word rolls off August's tongue. A harsh reminder of her demotion, and one that clearly stings. I wonder if we'll ever get the chance to ask her about it, to finally know exactly what she did that warranted her being made such an example of.
Nice, August. Really nice.
You could quite literally cut the tension here with a double-bladed dagger. It's not awkward at all. We have a meeting, General? August sighs, glancing at Piper almost guiltily, but the sorry expression fades the second she meets their gaze. Oh, so they're sorry. Yes, we do. Is that everything for today, Merriman? Is it every... I wasn't... You take a deep breath, pinching the bridge of their nose between forefinger and thumb. You're dismissed for today, Merriman. They stare each other down, and wonder how the hell they ever managed to become one of the most successful elimination teams in Westbria. So, remember the comment about August being responsible for the most prolific hunters? That was Piper. But we do see them repair their friendship. And we actually have a hand in that. I've heard countless weird and wonderful stories of their partnership, of Piper's unparalleled strength and August's unmatched intelligence. Here, now, Wes is a dispirited hunter and an impossibly tired enforcer. Harry's on his way. I suggest we depart quickly.
Shit.
She blanches at that, and I can almost see her admitting defeat. Her shoulders relax, and the furrow in her brow fades.
Fine. I'll go and look for your possibly a small chimera, but probably a big fucking cat. One day you'll have to stop punishing me, you know.
Piper grabs a set of expensive-looking daggers from the chair in front of the desk, strapping them to her back with haste. She pauses in front of me, and those dark eyes soften as she meets my gaze.
See you around, Hunter. Enjoy your important meeting, and remember what I said. Foot. Ass.
She chances another glance at August, and they suddenly become very interested in studying their perfectly manicured nails. Of course their nails would be manicured. With a wink, she then fully spins to face August, squaring up to them playfully. The enforcer towers above her, still uncaring, still unbothered. She's 5'6". There's 6 foot, if I remember correctly. Yes, I this information close at hand, just because, yeah, there's 6 foot, and she's 5'6". So. What? I love that one last insult. And with that, she turns on her heel and slams the door so hard it shakes in the frame. August walks around the back of the desk, practically falling into the well-used leather chair. I scan the piles upon piles of paperwork that litter the surface, taking in accountants' reports and letters, scribbled diagrams, and gruesome drawings. So let's go back to extras. Oh, we haven't gotten to that. Alright, it's not over yet. Okay. I get the impression August is in over their head. The disorder of all this information makes my fingers twitch. They watch me carefully, stifling a yawn with a trembling hand. I know, trust me, I know. As much as I hate to admit it, we've got nothing. As of right now, I suspect everyone in this town, as should you. I may not really know them just yet. I think that this kind of vulnerability unseen is rare. August doesn't strike me as the type to admit defeat so easily. And something more serious than usual stress of the job seems to be lingering under the surface. Yeah. Yes. A quick look at the CG without the text box in the way. After what I witnessed back in Ezra's shop, I can't help but wonder what they were like before all of this. The way the young witch looked at them. It was pity. Ezra pitied August. August has a quiet laugh and relaxes back in the chair, and for the first time since we met, they seem to let their guard down.
I don't know why Harry decided you were the right person for this job above all others, but I trust him implicitly. So, whatever plan he has for you, we had better make it work.
Okay. He paused, staring me down with his ice blue eyes. Now, are you ready to begin? And first 4 options, so we're going to take all the 4 options this time around, just for the hell of it. I feel emboldened as that piercing gaze bores into me. Something twisting deep in my gut. I lean forward in my chair to make sure they see me. Really see me. I can't wait to see where our partnership takes us, General Willenheim. August presses their finger to their lips, appraising me. Really? I think we can keep absolutely anything together if we truly want to. Though they're clearly trying to hide it, I see their lips twist into a sly grin. Thus, their expression has changed.
And you state this after knowing me for a mere day and a half. How bold.
I know what I'm capable of, and you're quite prolific, you know. Their long, dark lashes kiss the top of their lightly flushed cheeks, and a pretty shade of dusky rose painting their pale skin as they lean in. Yes, they're blushing. I love it. Closer, close enough for me to see the flecks of violet that swirl at the outer edges of impossibly blue irises. August is magic, overflowing with it. It pours out of them in waves. I can feel it deep in my bones and settling upon my skin. Call it a gut feeling. A quiet, careful laugh, and suddenly they don't look quite so tired anymore. You finally get to hear the laugh.
I suppose you hunters hold quite the advantage over me with your gut feelings, don't you?
August tilts her head, her face doing something strange. Expression too quick to catch, appearing before I settle back into that implacable ease they've mastered so wonderfully. They curl the corner of a page that falls beneath his fingertips, where their hands have drawn closer to me at the edge of the desk. They clear their throat, but their next words sound noticeably husky. Regardless, I do hope you're right, Hunter Dubois. I pause. Rather, I look forward to testing your theory. I smile, genuine and warm. Me too. And please, call me Michelle. We're going to be partners after all, aren't we?
It's very well, but you will still call me General.
I laugh, but I nod my agreement. Of course, General. I hear footsteps in the hallway, and August quickly rises to their feet. They straighten their clothing and tie their sash a little tighter. I followed their lead and moved down by their side, my heart hammering triple time in my chest as those footsteps draw near. What could this be? There's a distinct clang of metal, of armor and heavy boots. Then the door swings open, and an imposing figure enters the room. His gaze focused between myself and August, his expression stern and almost emotionless. I've heard many tales about Harold Addington III. As he stands before me, I feel a certain sense of pride that he would choose to summon me to deal with such a vital case. He's adorned in the standard enforcer colors of black and gold, but his outfit is far more regal than any of the other higher-ranking officials I've seen. If the enforcer colors are supposed to be black and gold, that explains why August doesn't wear them. A wide smile breaks out across his scarred lips, and he pulls August into a tight embrace, a deep, comforting chuckle rumbling in his chest.
Old friend, how the devil are you? It's been a while. Too long, I say.
He pulls away, still firmly holding onto August's shoulders. You look exhausted. Have you not been sleeping? August offers him a wry smile as Harry drops his hand. I'm trying to sleep. Does that count? Harry throws him a look, something stern but edged with a certain fondness, one that a father might give to their child.
Look after yourself, Augustus.
Oh, so August isn't their full name. Augustus is. That's a bit of a mouthful. August nods once, still smiling as Harry turns to stand before me.
Hunter, it's such a pleasure to meet you. I can finally put a face to all those impressive reports I've read.
Yes, please, keep buttering me up. He offers me his hand, and I eagerly take it. It's a pleasure to meet you too, Lieutenant General Addington, sir. He smiles warmly, keeping his grip on my hand, his other holding my forearm.
Harry is fine. None of that formal nonsense. If we're going to be working together for the foreseeable future, we might as well get familiar, wouldn't you agree?
Of course, Harry. He laughs, and I feel incredibly relaxed in his presence. Now, let's get to business, shall we? August hands him a standard issue file sealed with wax bearing the Scarlet Enforcer emblem. They watch me carefully as Harry breaks the seal. I have my side falling from his lips. Quickly scans the report. He closes his eyes, handing the papers back to August before he turns his back to his clothes. A silent moment passes, and Harry rounds his shoulders, stroking his neck before he faces us.
You know, I've worked for the Enforcers for nearly 30 years, and I've never felt quite so useless. We've lost some of our best, our brightest, kindest.
Harry pauses, the waver in his voice evident as he composes himself.
I am truly at a loss, and I'm finding it hard to remove my emotions from the equation when it's my own people being needlessly slaughtered.
Sorry, I have some comments that I'm keeping to myself because they're kind of spoilery. August averts her face, dealing a quick glance at me, seemingly assessing my reaction, but also giving Harry a moment of privacy.
Nothing can bring them back, but we can bring those responsible to justice.
Yeah, we can do that. Suddenly, it hits me. The victims were hunters, weren't they?
Yes, they were hunters, just like you.
Harry has a quiet laugh, clearing his throat.
I know we're putting a great deal of responsibility on your shoulders, but I have never-ending faith that you're the one who can help end this madness. Do you have any questions?
So this is a case where we can ask both questions eventually. How many victims do we have so far? August looks at Harry for guidance, and Harry nods his permission.
4, but we anticipate more. The victim has shown up every 7 days for the past month.
Yes, with the most recent being 6 days ago, which is when I called for you. Enough is enough.
We're due a body, if our calculations are correct.
Oh, shit. Harry clears his throat, twists the gold band on his finger.
I'd like you to concentrate on the latest victim for now. Male, 46 years of age, a general. He was one of our best. We owe him this.
I take a deep breath before I ask my next question, feeling immensely guilty before it even falls from my lips. Were all of them burned? I saw the ash in the charred ground. Each body has been burned very badly, yet, to the point where we cannot determine what wounds they sustained beforehand. Not even with magic? He shakes his head, exchanging a look with August, one I can't quite place. Not even with magic. Other than the timing of the murders, are there any other patterns I should be aware of? Harry's mouth flushes into a grimace, and he shakes his head. I hope you don't think ill of me, but I'd rather not tell you at this point. He and August share a look. August seems perplexed by this statement. Harry places his hand upon August's shoulder, a reassuring touch, a smile, then he's looking back at me. Please, just trust me, both of you. I want you to go out there and see things with your own eyes, utilize your abilities, then we can discuss what we've already discovered. This is a complex case with many intricacies. I think it's important that you don't let our opinions cloud your judgment. As terrifying and as baffling as this may seem, I see where Harry is coming from. I don't want to be influenced by an investigation that's so obviously failing. So, where would you like me to start? I almost expect him to tell me to figure it out myself, but Harry surprises me. Well, the most obvious of places would be the ibex. The what?
A curious pair are the Woodridge twins. They've taken up residence in the old church in the middle of town. I'm sure you've seen it.
I thought all right. Big, imposing, and very obviously dilapidated. Yes, I did notice it. It's quite hard to miss, but I assumed it was empty with it being in such a state of disrepair. We can only dream that it becomes vacant, unfortunately. August clenches their fist, a faint flicker of magic simmering in their palms.
They're a plague upon this town, spouting their drivel and preaching to the dumb and ignorant. They're idiots.
Augustus? August takes a deep breath, their magic dissipating.
Right. Sorry. Well, I'm not fond of them, if you couldn't already tell.
Nope, not in the slightest. Harry and I share a glance, and he smiles warmly, winking at me.
Oh, I think we got the picture.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Now, as I said, I suggest you start with them. Just see what you make of them. You might need to play along with the woman. She tends to favor playing games. Anything to baffle you.
Have they already been questioned? Are they dangerous? Are they human? Harry shrugs, and August annoys at him being so unbothered is obvious.
Yes, they're human, and yes, they've been questioned. Hunter Merriman saw to that, but she and the woman have a rather tumultuous relationship.
Let's put it mildly. Their alibi is solid. They have a guard, a human who has connections to Clan Casimir. She has no reason to report the Ibex other than just doing her job. I'd still be interested to hear what you think of her, though.
So, in theory, they're harmless, but they do have the people's ear for some bizarre reason.
That's great.
They prey on fear, and the town is infected with that right now. Be cautious of them. They certainly won't take kindly to you.
Got it.
Oh, I think the General can handle them just fine. Have some faith, August.
August raised her head dismissively, wandering over to a filing cabinet that's nestled in the far corner, was muttering something under their breath. One hand touches my arm. We trust you, Michelle.
Now, once you've spoken to them, I suggest just going where your gut tells you. There are plenty of other Lunarians for you to get to know, so just take today to really find your feet. I must meet with August and some of the other generals now, but please report back to us in the morning. Unless you find any damning evidence, of course, in which case, report back immediately.
Duh. I nod, glancing over at Miss Fury, who has taken it upon themselves to dive headfirst into yet another pile of paperwork. Trust no one, right?
Not a bloody soul. Suspect everyone. Question everything.
Including you? I close the door behind me, leaving August and Harry with their discussion. I feel a bit overwhelmed, but ready to finally start my investigation and to hopefully end all of this chaos. I take a deep breath and straighten my clothes, feeling ruffled from both that initial heated encounter and a brief but semi-informative conversation with Lieutenant General. As I turn to leave, I spot Piper leaning against the wall. She looks stoic, her gaze fixed on the floor, but she perks up when she spots me approaching. Oh, beautiful. Oi, Michelle, I can call you that, can't I? She makes a quiet, frustrated noise and closes her eyes. She shakes her head, exhaling sharply before she meets my gaze. Listen, I'm sorry you had to witness that exchange. I couldn't bring myself to leave without apologizing for my behavior, both today and in the tavern the other day.
It's been a rough few weeks, and I often let my passion overrule any rational thoughts that I promise I am capable of having. It's unbecoming of me.
I'm taken aback by the vulnerability of her words. This isn't the Piper I thought I'd have to become accustomed to. Piper, She raises her hand to halt my words, crossed fingers curling into a fist.
Please, just let me apologize, all right? Then we can pretend I never acted like a complete asshole, and you can go and do your job.
So, she sticks out her hand, her daggers clanging noisily where they rest in a holster at her back.
The name's Piper Merriman.
She rolls her eyes, take a deep breath before her next sentence.
Major Piper Merriman.
She throws me a wicked grin, and I can't help but laugh. Obviously, we're going to go with the flirt. I eagerly take her hand in my own and shake it firmly, my touch lingering a little longer than necessary as I cling to her warmth. It's a pleasure, Hunter Merriman. I guess I'll be seeing you around, or I hope I will. A smirk hooks the corner of her mouth, her fingers brushing as they slowly part. There's something curious shining in her striking gaze.
Well, the town is terribly small. It would be quite hard to avoid me.
I shrug nonchalant. I can think of worse things than bumping into you. She narrows her eyes, shoving me playfully. The most subtle flash of color creeps across her freckled cheeks. There it is, right there.
Oh, I don't know. I can be pretty scary if you ask nicely.
Oh, really? Nicely, you say? She purses her lips, her sapphire gaze sweeping over me like a caress.
Well. I think we're going to get along swimmingly.
She's quite an enigma, and I could feel my skin prickling under her heavy gaze. Certainly not an unwelcome feeling. There we go, her snort laugh. Yay! I was ready for that. She snorts a laugh that sounds wholly inelegant but charming nonetheless. What's so funny? She narrows her gaze, shifting from one foot to the other as if she has excess energy to dispel. Oh, nothing much. I expect you to be quite so interesting, I suppose. I feign offense, and her answering laugh is magical. I'll just have to prove myself then, won't I? That you will. Piper glances at the clock before turning back to me with the roll of her eyes.
Oh, I better get going. I have an inevitably worthless mission to get on with. People in this town are adept at mistaking common house cats for ghastly creatures. Must be something in the water.
I should go too. Yes, of course. Now off you go. Save Lunaris and all that. I'll see you around, Michelle. She turns on her heel and heads for the exit, pulling her chestnut hair up into a messy bun as she goes. I gather my wits, checking my supplies and weapon, adjusting my armor. It's time to begin. Okay, here we go. This is what I've been waiting for. Possibly a chimera. Profiling. Hyper Merman. Dear sirs or madams or peoples. There's a vicious beast outside our farms northeast of Lunaris. Every night it yowls and howls, scaring our cattle and our babies. The baby in turn cried until I, this being my fifth child, still cannot sleep. My husband is otherwise also irritated and on edge. We are all very on edge. The beast is vicious, mean, and loud. I chanced to spy it once while using the loo after dark. It got a fearsome face to 3 of them. I saw something had shadowy heads near our fence line. It's huge. We must get it, for I fear we will be eaten by it before moon turn. Many, many thanks, Rancher Berta Simone. Likely not as fearsome as she imagined if they heard it and are still breathing. Besides, our hunters passed through that area on patrol just 2 weeks ago and reported nothing. Still, it can't be dismissed as heresy. Let's investigate it. A. Willenheim. August. Made it last night in the middle of that freak thunderstorm. Rancher Bertha seriously does have 5 offspring here, counting the baby, and they talk so loudly, I'm wondering if she didn't just get pranked by them. Can't investigate shit in this weather, but I don't sense anything unusual. Bertha and her husband are one step away from nailing my sash to the door to stop me from leaving them, so I'll stay and make sure whatever it is found. In the meantime, I hope this letter makes it to you. If it doesn't work, well, nothing lost. If it does, I'll have something more substantial in my report than I live, bitch. Piper. Yes, the message so far. You really wasted such an expensive prototype on that kind of report. Expect a more formal debrief when you return. Wilhelm, guess what made the awful noise? The chimera awful noises. Yes, a fucking cat and her kitten. Waste of time, as usual. And they're doing this to the cat with the kitten. Stop wasting paper. And yes, that was what I've been waiting to read. There are advantages to being a Patreon. Hey, patron on a Patreon. It's a strangely beautiful day in Lunaris, regardless of the biting cold. The sky is clear, and the cobbled streets are abuzz with the smiling faces of townsfolk strolling to the local market with empty baskets and full pockets. There's certainly a different vibe to the last time I walked the street. No panic, no haste. As I draw nearer to the center of town, I see that imposing white building, scarlet flags sway in the wind on the roof, but as I look closer, I can see that they're tattered and dirtied. The twins may very well be human, but the way my stomach drops and twists as I approach the weathered wooden door tells me I might be shocked by what I'll find inside. I push open the heavy doors, and the sight is met with snatches of breath from my lugs. This place is huge. Its stone ceiling was seemingly once decorated with an intricate painting, with layers of cracked and peeled over time, and nothing more than an abundance of what looks like a starry night sky clings to it. The furniture is caked with a thick layer of dust, the pews are in disarray and covered with strange etchings that look like they've been carved into the cheap wood with a blunt nail. It's a lot to take in, but I'm not here to scout this room for evidence. I'm here to talk to its inhabitants. The dread that felt firmly seated in the pit of my stomach churns violently, but it's something old, something that lingers. I anticipate that I might find a lot more than I'm bargaining for if I truly desire, but I need to focus. I need to find the Woodridge twins. There we go. Okay. Scour. I said scout. Scour this room for evidence. Got it. As if by magic, 2 pairs of sterling bright blue eyes emerged from the shadows near the destroyed pulpit. Hello, Hunter. We were expecting you. To say that they're unusual would be an understatement, and they're not at all what I expected. Question immediately starts slow. We don't want to jump into things. We don't want to scare them off or anything. So we'll start slow. I offer her a small, friendly smile, however forced it may be. Word travels fast in Lunaris. I'm Hunter Dubois. She narrows her eyes at me, suspicious for the briefest of moments before she's smiling unnervingly again. Despite her best effort at apparently trying to be cute, it's still terrifying. I'm Aurora, and this is my dear brother, Armoros. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Mr. Dubois. I nod politely, not quite sure which of them I should be focusing my attention on. Armoros doesn't appear to enjoy talking, or maybe he's simply not permitted to. His overbearing sister is clearly the leader of the two. So we're going to address her. I study her steel gaze, and she seems completely at ease. Aurora, can you tell me what you do here? Amorous looks relieved that I didn't focus my attention on him, his one stiff shoulders sagging. Aurora clears her throat, a delicate hand covering her mouth as she does so. Well, what exactly would you like to know? What is the ibex? What do you know about the MERS? And this is another case where we get to ask both questions. I'm sure you're very aware of the recent murders in the area. Can you tell me anything that may be of use to my investigation? Aurora steals her gaze, unblinking, her fingers clasped tightly in front of her. We saw nothing, and we have an alibi. I look at Armoro, startled that he actually spoke. Oh, yeah, so it was him. They used the same color for both of them. His voice is strangely soft and comforting. Regardless, his words sound practiced and rehearsed. He looks nervous, like he'd rather be anywhere else but here, and his eyes keep darting to the door behind me. Nothing at all? You're stationed right inside the graveyard where the last hunter's body was discovered. You're telling me you didn't hear a thing? He was brutally murdered, set alight, and burned to ash, and yet he didn't scream or call for help? Aurora's lip curls at the corner, her eyes turning dark. My brother speaks the truth, Hunter Dubois. Question us all you like, but we've been through this with your insufferable predecessor. Just like Harry said, they apparently have an ironclad alibi, but my suspicion does not waver. I nod once, noticing Amorous' gaze burning into me, and though I cannot gauge how he's feeling, my gut tells me he has something to say. Something he wouldn't dare to with his sister by his side. Like he's scared. I clear my throat, trying not to be distracted by their unnatural stillness. Can you explain to me what you do and why? They share a look, and Armoros lands once under his sister's ice-cold gaze. Our purpose is simple: to spread the word of the night of those that are oppressed and murdered in cold blood. And who exactly are the oppressed? She giggles to sound musical, but edgy and maniacal. The creatures, of course. I look at Armoros, and he drops his gaze, color sweeping across his pale cheeks. Is my answer not satisfying, Hunter Dubois? Surely you know the institution that you serve brings harm to innocence. That the creatures you kill are nothing more than confused and lost, merely looking for salvation. I pause, carefully contemplating my response. My adult life has consisted of seeing bloodthirsty creatures trying to mindlessly murder innocent people, and in turn trying to kill me as I protect them. I see no desire for salvation in that. I appreciate that there are creatures who don't intend to harm anyone, even some that are kinder than most humans. But, I smile again and take a deep breath. But I cannot bring myself to understand how you can so blindly support the slaughter of your own people. Armoros frowns deeply, and I swear I see him shaking his head at me, but it's just subtle enough for his sister not to notice. Because humans are inferior and pathetic. We infest and corrupt the earth by dedicating our time and resources to reading it are the only things that give our wretched species any hope. She inhales sharply, calming herself and pressing her hands over the front of her skirt. So, Hunter Dubois, to answer your question, we are here to protect the creatures, just as you are here to destroy them. I'm starting to feel like Harry sent me here just to unnerve me. Surely he knew this is what I would be faced with. I still have little to nothing to work with here, and as the twins continue to stare me down, I think about his parting words. Respect everyone. Question everything. You truly have nothing else to say regarding the situation? Aurora stands firm, her lips curling into that wolfish grin once more. Not a thing. It was ever so wonderful to make your acquaintance, though. Truly. Please stop by again. Our doors are open to everyone. We're more than happy to accommodate you should your agency need to question us for a third time. Amorous gives me its look again, and I wonder if it would be possible to somehow get him alone. I have a feeling I get a lot more out of him than I had from her. Thank you, Aurora. Amorous. On my way out, I see a small, neatly wrapped package sitting on the doorstep. I bend down to check the label, and written on it in an elegant script are the words, "Just to laugh," and Amorous's name paired with a small heart. I may not know what it means, but I do know it in my language when I see one. Just as I suspected, there might be a lot more to Amorous Woodridge than meets the eye. So yeah, there is no voice acting for the Woodridge twins. I think just the 6 love interests and Harry are the ones who have voice work done for them. I walked through the center of town for a while, getting to know the buildings and watching the people that pass me by. Lunaris turns into a quiet, nervous town when the sun begins to set. I wonder if it's only recently lost its warmth. I consider heading for the graveyard, something tugging at me and telling me that there's more there for me to find, but Elsa suddenly appears from between the crooked houses, sending 2 children that were playing in the street, scattering.
What the hell have you been doing in that damned church? Are you feeding into their bullshit already?
Well, how'd you do? He pauses, having a sharp breath through his nose.
I thought you'd be different. Just like everyone said you would be. How stupid of me to want to believe them.
This isn't the first time I've been caught off guard by an angry lichen, but it's safe to say that I don't really need to fear for my life here. Maybe. He does look pretty pissed. Yeah? Wait, he doesn't like the Woodridge twins. It's not what you think, Alcar. I was just questioning them. He scoffs, rolling his eyes. His hands are shaking, but he balls them into fists when he catches me looking. Is that so? And why should I believe you? I don't even know you. No, you don't, which is why you should consider giving me the benefit of the doubt. I'm just trying to do my job. Do you suggest I just ignore the very obvious culp in the middle of town? His wolf hairs flicker back and forth, and he unclenches his fist. You were just questioning them? I nod. Yes, I was hardly agreeing with them in their hatred for, well, me. He rolls his eyes at me, standing his ground. Something has me curious, and I can't resist asking. They want to protect you from the likes of me, so why do you despise them so much? Very good question.
Because they couldn't care less about those of us that don't enjoy killing humans mindlessly. Because we're not real creatures if we stay out of trouble and befriend humans or each other.
Ooh, angry vibes? So if you dare to act as a remotely human, you're the enemy too? He smirks, brows raised.
Aha.
Now
you're getting it.
Yep. I forgot that was his line. Alcar is apparently defensive to a fault, but I sense that under the surface he's probably just scared, maybe even a little lonely. It must be hard to be feared like that when you've done nothing wrong. At least I don't think he has. He is kind of a bastard. Yes, but that's part of his charm. At least for me. So, do we ask if he has a friend here, or if he's following me? We'll be slightly egotistical here. Carl, were you following me? He bristles, frowning deeply. Don't flatter yourself. I could just smell the twins a mile away.
I just like to keep an eye on things. Especially them. And especially strange new hunters who appear out of nowhere. Then proceed to hang out with those creeps.
I'll cross my heart and hope to die my visit was innocent.
I would be careful making that statement here. Someone might take you up on it.
That's true. That's a good point. I laugh, but he's probably right. So, you just happen to conveniently be hiding in an alley to jump out on me then. Something like that, yeah. A moment passes and Alcar restlessly shifts from one foot to the other. He doesn't seem incredibly satisfied with my answer about questioning the twins, but I can't really do much more to convince him, nor do I care to right now. So where were you heading now? Do you live nearby? He narrows his eyes at me, clearly contemplating if he was to divulge such information. Why? Flirt. Can't I just try to get to know you a little better? And why would you want to do that? I offer him a smile as I shake my head, incredulous that he's so obviously expects the worst from everyone. Because I think there's more to you than meets the eye. Am I not allowed to be curious? He narrows those vivid scarlet eyes, meeting my gaze and holding it. I suppose you are. He continues to stare me down, taking a tentative step closer.
So, if I did let you get to know me a little better, what then?
I contemplate his question carefully, taking him in and surveying him from head to toe. Well, for starters, I buy you some shoes. He smirks, his side lip curling at the corner. He looks handsome when he smiles. A little softer. Not thoughtful of you, but he wouldn't be the first to try. No? He shakes his head, wiggling his bare toes against the cobblestone. I run past him without them. And who exactly are you running from?
If I told you, I'd have to kill you.
We share a quiet laugh, something passing between us. It's warm, and I feel like I'm finally getting to experience the real alcohol for the first time. Or at least, I hope. Funny.
I'm a funny guy.
He glances up at the sky, muttering something under his breath before he sets his gaze upon me once again.
It's getting dark, and there's a cold drink with my name on it at the Wolf. As much as I'd love to stay standing in the middle of the street talking to Lunaris' new favorite person, I'd better dash.
He turns as if he's about to leave, but he pauses, pointing at the ibex. The building looms over town, and it appears even more unsettling now that I know who resides there.
Stay away from them. You might think you're safe because they're human, but words can do just as much harm as knives or claws in this town.
I get the horrible feeling that he's right, that maybe I should have pushed harder with them. I should be asking him about the murders too, but Harry told me to dress like innocence, and right now something is pulling me towards that graveyard. Towards a scrappy, sarcastic world. I'll be careful. See to it that you are, Hunter. The town might fucking implode if I have to deal with much more. He makes a dismissive noise, scowling at me, but he's unable to mask his obvious worry for my well-being. Not that I care. Anyway, I'll see you around. He offers me a half-hour wave paired with a decidedly mischievous grin, and then Alcor sweeps back into the alley from where he came. The graveyard looks so different at night. Beautiful even. Clouds twists and curls around my ankles as I walk, glimmering specks of vivid blue light sparkling in its haze. Thankfully, the darkness is a little more forgiving this evening. Something seems to be guiding me along and leading me right to the place where the murder happened. I'm hoping that I might be able to get a clearer idea of what transpired here that night now that I know who he was, or what he was. I follow the path and see a dark figure crouching before a neat line of gravestones. There's no danger here, not that I can feel, but I approach with caution anyway. As I draw nearer, I recognize him. It's Finn. I'm no fool, and I know he senses me here, so he doesn't flinch, keeping his gaze fixed on the dark forest that surrounds us. Living safe or no one, looking this time, we're gonna be cheeky. I clear my throat, quickening my brow as he stands and tries to face me, effortlessly graceful. There are no walls for you to pin me against out here. How will you cook? His golden eyes shine in the darkness, and he offers me a sheepish glance.
When good people are getting brutally murdered, my instincts tend to get the better of me. But I apologize again. I'll do anything you require for you to feel comfortable around me.
Anything? No mind reading? He shakes his head quickly.
No mind reading, unless you ask, of course. Or unless you have any particularly loud thoughts. Then I'm afraid there's not much I can do to help it.
A smirk cups the corner of his mouth and offers me his iron hand, switching to his fresh one when I throw him a curious look.
Ah, both are just as cold as the other, unfortunately.
Truth? I shrug heartily and shiver as his cold skin meets my warm. His hand shakes it. Truth. I really need to have a look around. I sensed something near where the body was found the night after I arrived. He pauses, looking as though he's trying to decide if he should say what he's thinking.
There's definitely a strange energy here. Stranger than usual, anyway. But I can help you, if you wish. I mean, if you wanted an immortal opinion.
How exactly can you help me? You have to clear life and put his arms across his chest.
Would an excellent sense of smell and the ability to see things your human eyes cannot be of use?
I think this is just... It says, take a roll of my eyes as a way for my response. I suppose I shouldn't expect any help, but how do I know you're not the thing committing these horrible crimes? I've been told to trust no one more times than I can count. So tell me then, why should I trust you? He offers me a wry smile, but sadness lingers in his gaze.
Freedom.
Freedom? He nods again, taking another deep, unnecessary breath.
I've been trying to become a better man since the day I died. My sire was a cruel man, a tyrant. Being around that for centuries does something to you.
Where's your sire now? He swells thickly, rubbing the back of his neck. Almost a nervous gesture, and the first time I've seen him do anything that looked remotely human or graceful. Dead, killed by your lieutenant general. I owe her my life. He freed me from Levi's shackles. He pauses, head tilted towards the night sky, and he closes his eyes. A smile crosses his lips. Something wicked.
I've done terrible things in my time, and I intend to pay penance for those for the rest of my days. Which, if you hadn't heard, is forever.
There are so many things I long to ask him. He's seen so much, done so much, and I assume lost so much.
So, to answer your question, I value doing the right thing above all else, even if sometimes I tend to stumble a little. Metaphorically, of course.
Of course. I offer him a wry smile, watching him watch me. Of course, a great heart. I'd be lying if I said that I'm really curious to get to know him a little better. Spending some time with you wouldn't be so terrible, I suppose. He looks taken aback by my statement, but he recovers in a record time. A smirk that accompanies learn is quintessentially thin, passing his lips. A smirk that has my cheek heating.
You suppose,
I step closer, his gaze burning into mine, and I feel a shiver roll down my spine. The hairs on the back of my neck standing to attention. He notices. You cold? He's teasing me, so I decide to play along. Freezing. Makes a quiet little noise, one I think could become quite fond of hearing.
Unfortunately, I can't warm you up. I am quite dead, you know.
I raise my brow at him, unable to stop the smile that spreads across my lips. Really? I didn't notice. The signs in Deathly Pest scanner ever so subtle. He pokes to the point of one of his fangs with the tip of his tongue before he speaks. I find myself watching the movement quite intently.
I don't think I've ever been called subtle before.
Well, there's a first time for everything. He narrows his gaze, apparently contemplating the next sentence quite carefully.
You're different, aren't you? I like different.
I clear my throat, snapping myself out of this little daze I appear to have lulled myself into, as if my own band called. He should, his man is wired this time. He's handsome, bathed in the moonlight, even more so than in the artificial light of the shop. It's distracting. He's apparently quite distracted himself, and he clears his throat before he next speaks. Yes, we should. I brush past him, a little closer than necessary, and another shiver overtakes me as I feel his cool skin against my own. I head for the current and hyper-aware of him following close behind, knowing his gaze is burning into me. Oh yes. We stop at the charred patch of grass, bending to pick up one of the bloody shards of the shattered gravestone. He brings up his nose and glances at me before he gives it a sniff. He's apparently quite repulsed by whatever scent he's picked up, and he hands me the stone, wiping his hands off on his trousers.
I suggest you keep that. That's not something I've experienced before, and I've smelled a lot of different things in my time. It seems off. If it's from a creature, it's certainly not one I've come across in my 600 years.
Okay, so the hunter was slightly off on their estimate, but they did say he was pushing 500 at least. I was not even smelled. I throw him an accusatory glance before I turn my attention back to what he's handed me. I put it in my pocket for safekeeping. You can't pick up anything at all, so that means it isn't the victim's stuff. He shakes his head. Definitely not his. Well, here goes nothing. I do exactly as I did last time, closing my eyes and concentrating, pouring all of my energy into seeking out that lingering memory. Just as I remember, painful, loud, and I almost can't bear it as a deep, scared voice echoes in my mind. Leave while you still can. I feel a force pushing at me, but it's weak and nothing I can't handle, so I fight it and hold my ground. It's not hostile, but parent. It's trying to tell me to go, to get out, to run. That just makes me want to stay all the more. I hear Finn saying my name, but it's distant, almost as if I'm underwater. I want to help. Tell me how. Who did this to you? No hope. Just death. You can't stop them. I tried. I failed. The voice quickly disappears, and all I'm left with are more questions. Duh. I open my eyes to find Finn crouched before me, his eyes wide, concern etched on his handsome face.
Are you okay? What was that? I wasn't listening, I swear it, but I couldn't block it out. He was just so loud.
I exhale sharply, shaking my head and taking his hand as he offers it to help me stand. I fall against him and he catches me with fluid grace. It was the hunter. It must have been. What did you hear? He pauses, frowning and tightening his grip on me. Nothing coherent, just noise, but it was intense. That's never happened before. What do you mean? I mean, I feel things. I hear things sometimes, too. I've never fully directly spoken to a spirit like that before. At least that's what I think it was. I should go and find August. He seems reluctant to let me go, a stitch in his brow as he looks at me. Are you sure you're okay? I nod, preparing it immediately as a wave of dizziness overtakes me.
I've got you.
Babe, you sweetheart.
You need to go and seek out Ezra. He can help you. Trust me. He's good with weird shit like this.
Weird shit. Okay. I contemplate heading back to see August, but I suspect they wouldn't appreciate me disturbing them at this hour with little more than a ghost story. You're right. I'll head for his shop immediately. Finn nods, still watching me and holding me close. Head straight there. Promise me? Place my hands on his chest and Finn holds my arms as I try to steady myself. I will. Thank you, Finn. I trace his touch as we break apart, his cool fingertips feeling so soothing against my skin. If you need me, don't hesitate to come and find me. Ezra can tell you how to get to me. I swallow thickly, nodding and trying to shake myself free of this haze. I will. I swear it. He turns and heads for the forest, casting a final lingering glance at me over his shoulder before he disappears into the darkness. Now, so I need to find Ezra, and fast. I hurry to the shop, still unsteady on my feet, and my mind is reeling. What the hell is going on in this town? I round the corner and see that the lantern outside the shop is dark. I didn't realize how late it had gotten, and I can only hope that he's home. I knock on the door and hear a loud crash, followed by quick footsteps. The door creaks open slowly, and a face that definitely isn't Ezra's appears. I'm taken aback by the sight of Omen, his eyes wide as he stares at me. Are you supposed to be in there, Omen? He blinks, and a moment later he smiles, full of sheepish remorse. That answers my question, though it's difficult to even work up any annoyance. He's actually trespassing. Is he influencing me with his powers, or is his human face just that cute? For real. Guess I'm maybe kind of living here right now? Oh, really? He smiles shyly, his ears twitching, and he looks away for a moment. Is Ezra here? He shakes his head, opening the door a little more.
No, he went out. He said he wouldn't be long, but I don't know when he'll be back.
Okay. His eyes widen a little more, as if he's remembered something. Sorry, would you like to come in? I contemplate rushing off to continue my search for Ezra, but I would be stupid to miss a chance to find out a little more about this curious demon. I'd love to, but just for a moment. There's a neat little pile of cushions arranged on the rug in the middle of the shop, and a handful of empty wrappers that I can only assume were once filled with sheets. Omen rushes to pick them up and scrunches them into a ball as if he's trying to get rid of the evidence. He still slows mindlessly as he sticks them in a small bin hidden behind the counter. He seems oddly at home here, so I assume he's telling the truth and that about staying here often. You look exhausted. Have you been busy today? I laugh quietly, rubbing my temple, my head continuing to thrum. Very busy, yes. He nods, picking up a lightly glowing blue crystal that sits on one of the displays. He fills with it nervously. Can I ask you a few questions? I suppose, yes. I might not be able to answer much, though. Why? He grimaces.
I try to stay out of things around here. The humans don't like me very much.
Because you're a demon? His mouth twists into something that looks like a shrine, and very much failing to be a smile. Something like that. I suppose that's fair. It's not every day you see a demon like him walking down the street. Even these days, he's well-grounded, but he's still quite obviously inhuman. In a town like this, especially one so small, I imagine he's quite an unnerving presence. And that isn't even taking into consideration what the murders and unanswered mysteries might have done to the townsfolk's nerves. Ask him about the murders or ask him about himself? We could ask him about himself. I don't know much about you. Where are you from? And how long have you been here in Lunaris? His eyes widen, his pupils dilating, and I see the slightest hint of crimson flickering in chestnut brown.
I've been here about 2 years. Time passes differently here for me, so it's hard to know for sure. You'd have to ask Ezra. He'd know.
I don't miss the way he so tactfully ignored my question about his origins. I decide not to press him if he's given me something. Yet. How did you meet Ezra? He lights up at that question.
I met him the day I arrived in Lunaris. He was the first person I saw, and he took me in without question when I was in need of shelter.
Sounds about right. Ezra is very kind, isn't he? He nods enthusiastically. He is quite wonderful. Everyone thinks so. Well? He fidgets, dropping his gaze to his hands, fingers toying with the blue crystal again. The General, August, I don't like him very much, and that makes us so sad. Do you know why? He shakes his head, biting his lip. No, I didn't want to ask, but Finn says they've known each other a very long time. So, yeah, they definitely have a history.
Ezra has been very, very kind to me. I don't want to pry, not about things that might hurt to say or to hear.
That's fair. But not slowly. It's hard to argue with that, I suppose. Do you know much about the recent murders? Owen passively looks out of the window, a sad look crossing his face.
I know that the humans are upset, and that the ones who were killed were hunters. Ezra is tired all the time, and Finn visits him less. Alcar is distant.
Okay, so he knows Alcar. He sighs, a knot forming between his brows.
Everything is so different lately. I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't blame you. His eyes light up as he tries to look at me.
But now you're here. A solution. A fresh start.
Whoa now. Hold on. Eventually, Omen shrugs. The wind changes, perhaps towards shore this time. And he smiles at me, full of optimism and faith. His trust is almost sweet, but I can't in good conscience lie to him. I hope so, Omen, but it might take me a little while. Right, yes, I understand. He fidgets where he stands, his eyes flickering to the curtain that hides Ezra's living area. Can I show you something? Of course you can. One moment. He dashes through the curtains that separates the front of the shop from the back, reappearing within seconds, clutching a weathered notebook. Here, I keep notes on things I find interesting, mostly human, but also Finn, Alcar, Ezra. He trails off, looking wistful.
I thought maybe this could help you. If you need to know stuff about certain people, I might have something here.
Where said you write about things that you find interesting?
That's right. Anything that intrigues me, I guess. Sometimes things I don't understand, so I can ask someone later. Human things, mostly.
I smile, enamored. He's so wonderfully curious. It's a nice break from the doom and gloom that the others I've spoken to have been emanating. Is there anything about me in there? He stutters, holding the book a little tighter. Oh, maybe? I raise an eyebrow at him, and he shyly drops his gaze.
Yes. Yes, there is.
My smile grows exponentially, and Omen smiles in return. The color in his cheeks is almost matching his shirt. What did you write about me? His tail sways back and forth enthusiastically, curling around his leg.
You're really putting me on the spot, huh?
As long as it's nice, I don't mind. I offer him a wink.
Oh, it's very nice. Trust me.
I sigh dramatically, watching him watch me. I have a feeling there will be more notes in his book this evening. Well, I guess I'll have to trust you if you're not going to show me. Now, never say never, Michelle. I feel... Excuse me. Almost done. I feel a sudden twang of pain in my temple again. The sensation is unpleasant, and it burns. Michelle, are you okay? Omen rushes to my side, the notebook forgotten upon the counter. He reaches for me, but he's hesitant. I can feel an impossible warmth radiating off his palm, but he withdraws his hand before he touches me. I'm fine. I really need to find Ezra. Do you have any idea where he could be?
I don't know for sure, but he usually goes to the market or the tavern. Maybe even the catacombs.
The catacombs? He nods, leaning closer.
Yes, that's where the vampires are.
Susie, I will get through this. He presses his finger to his lips, a human gesture that looks out of place, like he's been practicing it.
I would try the tavern first, though. He did mention he needed a drink. He likes to drink a lot of wine after a busy day.
I'm sure. Thank you so much, Omen. I'd better hurry. I bid him a quick farewell and head back out into the darkness. I push my way into the tavern, scanning every table for that shack of white hair, and much to my relief, I see the friendly face I'm looking for. He's noticed me already, his hand raised as he beckons me over to where he sits alone in a cozy spot in the corner. His smile is as bright and as wide as I remember, and I take a seat opposite him.
It's good to see you. I hope the town hasn't scared you off yet.
I raise an accusatory eyebrow at him, earning a laugh. Well, even if I was scared off, I can't really go anywhere, can I? Ezra smiles softly, but he seems restless. I suppose not, no.
What's that like? Being bound to do whatever you're told. By your duty.
Okay, we're going. Stop that. It's lonely. I contemplate this question for a moment, wondering exactly how honest I should be. Well, it is quite lonely, especially when you're torn from a previous post and dropped into a weird town full of strangers. And murders. Don't forget those. He winks, a sparkle in his eyes. And murders, yes.
I'm sorry you have to endure that. Loneliness is a terrible thing, but You shall be lonely no more. We've got you now. We're here for you.
Aww. He sits a little straighter, determined. We? He rolls his eyes playfully with the hand placed over his heart.
You wound me. Yes, we. Myself and Finn and Piper and, well, maybe even August, if you're lucky.
I laugh as Ezra grimaces at the thought.
You have people here. Some might be undead or just plain stubborn, but you have us.
Yeah, she said he's such a sweetheart. No wonder people like him. Thank you, Ezra. That means a lot. He shrugs it off, running his finger around the rim of his wine glass.
We've all been lonely at some point. Some of us will always be lonely, even surrounded by people. But if there's the smallest chance that you can quell that with some good company, then you should take it.
He looks up at me, and I wonder how such a human exists. He's kind and pensively so, and I find it very hard to believe that it could ever be an act. So you have friends here, Michelle. The barmaid comes over and rolls her eyes, hand on her hip as she addresses me rather curtly. Drink? I guess her friend's half-empty wine glass, the dark liquid looking more than appealing. I'll have the same, please. She turns and wanders off with yet another roll of her eyes, and Ezra poorly stifles a laugh. Don't take it personally. That's Edna. She's notoriously, short. I grimace, and Ezra returns with my glass of wine. I nod politely. Thank you, Edna. Edna grunts, turning on her heel and throwing a dismissive wave over her shoulder. Case in point. The wine tastes rich, and I eagerly savor the first sip. Are you okay? You seem tense. I was actually looking for you. I need to tell you something, but I need you to promise you won't think I'm crazy.
You're talking to someone who lives in Lunaris. Try me.
I take a deep breath and edge closer, checking no one else is listening. I visited the graveyard after I left your shop yesterday to see the crime scene. I tried to get a feel for what happened there that night. Ezra leans in, his eyes wide. And I didn't really get much other than an overwhelming sense of loss, which is, well, quite normal considering the circumstances. People tend to feel such emotions when they're dying. But tonight I went back. Finn was there too, and I felt something different. Different how, exactly? I have to laugh, knowing how ridiculous this sounds. I heard him, the hunter, the one who died. He spoke to me. Ezra's gaze starts around the tavern, and he sits back in his chair, running a hand through his hair. He wipes the look of shock off his face quickly, patting him, putting himself to rights. His voice is low when he speaks next, barely a whisper. You're sure it was him? I nod. Positive. He told me to leave, and there's no hope in helping. Ezra leans forward again, pushing his wine glass aside, placing his hand upon the table. His fingers are visibly twitching. Duh. I mirror his movement and place my hand upon the table beside his, shamelessly needing comfort and contact. Ezra doesn't hesitate to take it in his own, his skin warm and soft as he squeezes it lightly. It's going to be okay. We do this out together. I exhale sharply, feeling like I've been holding my breath ever since I left that graveyard. Thank you, Ezra. I don't know what I'd do without you. I've only known you for a few days.
It's okay. I'm used to taking care of people. It's my thing, I suppose. Besides, you're delightful. It's not like it's a chore.
He softens his expression and starts drawing gentle, soothing circles on the back of my hand with his thumb. I do that in fics where I'm writing characters that are together or getting together. His cheeks darken slightly, and everything about him is impossibly enchanting. I'm glad you're okay, Michelle. I'm here for you, always. I'm more grateful than you'll ever know for that. Another squeeze of my hand, and we part reluctantly. Oh my gosh, he's gonna be so amazing. Yeah. So, what now? He curls his fingers around the stem of his glass and sighs deeply.
I don't even know how to unpack this, but I do know that you need to rest. How's your head feeling?
I sighed, pushing my wine aside. Still hurting. Ezra fishes around in the pouch that's attached to his belt, retrieving a small vial full of what looks like a strange herb or flower. Here, crush this into some boiling water and it should help with the headache. It's just some feverfew and butterbur. Completely natural, I promise. I take the vial and tuck it safely in my pocket. Do you have a pharmacy in there? He laughs softly, shaking his head. What kind of witch would I be if I didn't carry around a cure for a migraine? I should head back to the shop. I left Omen unattended with the kitchen cupboard unlocked. He'll eat me out of house and home. I did check there before I came here. He's gotten into the suite. Shit. And that's definitely my cue to leave.
Whatever you experience today will still have happened tomorrow. I know what you hunters are like. No matter how scary August is, your report can wait until tomorrow.
I smile up at him as he stands to leave. I promise, I'm drained. I need my bed more than ever right now. Plus, I need to decide how to put this all into words. Yes, I'm right there with the hunter. I am getting tired. But we're almost done. We've almost made it through the demo. It's only taken 2 hours. This has changed everything for me, hasn't it? Yes, I'm afraid it did. Just he sighs deeply, resting a hand upon my shoulder.
Be mindful of who you share this information with, okay? There are eyes and ears everywhere.
That's reassuring. Good night, Michelle. Good night, Ezra. I stare out of the window and I spot the first snowflakes falling from a star-dusted sky. Winter has arrived in Lunaris. My headache is persistent as I lay in bed, but nothing can possibly stop me from falling asleep after the day I've had. I finish the tea that I made with the flowers Ezra gave me, hoping that it begins to take effect. I close my eyes, but just before I drift off, a distant whisper. My name was James. And that's it. That's the demo. First 2 chapters. Yay, we survived. We made it. So, hopefully, the revamp itself will be released later this week. If it is, then I will go ahead and stream that next Sunday, starting with the next chapter after the one I just finished. Because I don't think you want me to go through those 2 chapters again. I have decided that I'm going to romance Omen with this playthrough, because I already romanced Piper, and I did a quick search on YouTube, and most of the playthroughs I've seen have featured either the poly routes, which are Finn, Ezra, and Omen, Alcar, or just Finn, or just August. And that's part of the reason that I went ahead and romanced Piper. My first playthrough, of course, I just love my knife wife anyway. I think I did see an Alcar one, but I didn't see Omen or just Ezra. But I decided on Omen, and I hope that reason will become apparent once I get through it. But future live streams will only be 1 chapter at a time, because 2 chapters is a little too much. I did it this time around because I really wanted to get through the entire demo. So I hope you guys have a good week, and I will be streaming on Wednesday, continuing with Errant Kingdom. That will be the Nomad Chapter 3. And then the week after, we'll be starting with Ambassador Chapter 4, so we'll find out where they ended up. So, until then, take care, and I will see you all again shortly. Take care.